The Brony Adventures 5, Chapter 9, Community Service. A few hours later, Dunsmore was out of his castle. He notices Ratchet and David. He walks up to them and says, "What are y'all doing?" Ratchet says, "Watching the tea pick up trash." David says, "Yeah, it's fun." Dunsmore says, He takes a candy wrapper and crumbles it and throws it at JT. It hits him on his head. JT says, "What the?" Dunsmore says, "You missed one?" They all start laughing. JT opens his mouth to speak. A guard teleports behind Thunderstorm, Ratchet, and David. He shakes his head. JT's eyes go wide. Dunsmore, Ratchet, and David say, "Huh?" The guard teleports away. Dunsmore, Ratchet, and David turn around. Dunsmore says, "Weird." Ratchet says, "Yeah, it felt like some pony was behind us." Dave says, "Freaky." JT says, "Idiots." Flash walks by and says, "Hey, Dad." He drops a candy wrapper. JT says, "You son of a Discord." Wait. Dunsmore, Ratchet, and David start laughing. JT says, "Why don't you all get out of here? Find somebody else to bug." Dunsmore says, "Alright, guys, I think he's had enough." JT says, "I've had enough." Dave says, "Too bad." Ratchet says, "Nah, let's leave him to the trash and the ground and the picking it up. You know what I'm talking about." Dunsmore, David, and Ratchet start laughing. Dave says, "Okay, I'm going to go to Twilight to see if she has any spells on fixing broken walls. Mine won't work. See ya." Dunsmore and Ratchet say, "See ya." David walks away. Ratchet says, "Well, I got to get back to the Jizz Factory. See ya." Dunsmore says, "See ya." Ratchet walks away. Dunsmore says, "For once, I have no idea what to do." Nalok walks up and says, "Hey, Grandpa Thunderstorm." Dunsmore says, "Sport, hey, we ain't talked or hanged out in forever. You feel like going for a fight?" Nalok says, "Sure." Dunsmore says, "How you been, Sport? Anything new?" Nalok says, "I guess so. I was with Ratchet, but we broke up." Dunsmore says, "Why?" Nalok says, "We both just weren't ready for a relationship." Dunsmore says, "Sport, I get that, but you're a very beautiful, intelligent, strong, fast, nice, awesome, and funny mare. You should share that with some pony. That special pony. You're too special and awesome to be alone, Sport. I won't have it." Nalok smiles and says, "Thanks, Grandpa. Wish other stallions thought that." Dunsmore says, "They do. They're probably too shy to walk up to you. You got your mother's looks. She always makes stallions frozen with her beauty, and so do you." Nalok blushes and says, "Stop it, Grandpa. You're embarrassing me." Dunsmore says, "We're in the sky. Who's gonna hear me?" Applesauce says, "Hey, guys." Nalok says, "Oh, Celestia." Dunsmore says, "Oh, stop it. I'm your grandpa. Your pony expects me to think you're special, awesome, and beautiful, which you are." Nalok says, "Grandpa." Applesauce says, "He's right. Don't be embarrassed. I think it's great that your family cares about you so much." Nalok says, "Really?" Applesauce says, "Darn it." Dunsmore says, "I'll leave you two alone. Bye, Sport." He lands. Nalok says, "Bye, Grandpa." Applesauce says, "I'm sorry, I ain't introduced myself. I'm Applesauce." Nalok says, "I'm Natlock." They shake hooves. Applesauce says, You're one beautiful mare." Nalok blushes and says, "Thank you." Applesauce says, "It's hard to believe that one like you ain't been snatched up already." Nalok blushes even redder. Applesauce says, "I know we just met, but would you go on a date with me?" Nalok says, "Oh, I'd love to." Applesauce says, "Wahoo! Yeah!" Yes, I mean, cool. Nala giggles. Aswa says, you have an amazing laugh. Nala says, thank you. So, where and when is our date? Aswa says, oh, right. How about at Sugar Cube Corner right now? Nala says, can't wait. End of Chapter 9. Brony Adventures 5, Chapter 10, Beer. If you just excuse me for 1 second, the PS Vita has reached low power and I need to plug up its charger. In future notice, I will record with it already hooked up to its charger. Now let's see if we can still squeeze in 4 chapters into this recording. Dungeon smiles and says, that's my granddaughter. Draconix also up and says, hey. Dungeon says, hey, come with me to my castle, quickly. Draconix says, okay. They run to his castle. At the doors that lead inside, Dungeon says, ready? Draconix says, for what? Dungeon says, wait, we need Fluttershy. Draconix says, for what? Fluttershy walks up to Draconix and says, where is it? Draconix says, I was going to get it, but I started to talk to Dunstorm, and now he wants to show us something. Fluttershy says, oh, okay. Dunstorm says, ready? They nod. He opens the doors. Every pony inside screams, surprise! Fluttershy smiles and says, oh my. Draconix says, what's going on? Dunstorm says, this is your celebration party. Now come on, enjoy yourself, and later I have a present for you both. Dunstorm walks inside. Tears go down Fluttershy's cheeks, and she says, I don't know what to say. Rarity says, Fluttershy. Fluttershy says, Rarity? Rarity and any other main 6 wave at Fluttershy. She smiles and walks to them. Draconix slowly walks inside. He looks around in amazement and says, every pony in Equestria must be here. Firefly looks up and says, yep, except for Alsace and Nightlock. I don't know where they went, but I'm sure they're okay. So how do you like the party so far? There's plenty of beer and plenty of punch for the non-drinkers, and there's every kind of food you and Fluttershy like. Thunder did a lot of research to make sure y'all had a great celebration party. David and Ratchet walk up to Draconix. Dave says, this party is awesome! Ratchet says, he's kinda drunk. Don't tell Charlie. Draconix says, don't worry, I won't. Dave says, tell her, I don't care. She sucks my dick every night. She's my bitch. Charlie says, ahem. Dave says, what do you want? To suck my dick? He starts laughing. Dave says, Charlie grabs his ear. Dave says, ow, ow. Charlie says, excuse us, I'm going to get him sober. Dave says, oh, Celestia, ow, ow. Help me, guys! Ow, ow. Draconix says, well, that was funny. Ratchet says, yep. They start laughing. Dunstorm walks up and says, somebody is enjoying his party. Draconix says, you should have seen it, dude. Ratchet says, yeah. David called Charlie his bitch, and Ratchet starts laughing again. Draconix says, and got the shit sucked out of him. Dunstorm laughs and says, maybe I ain't brought too strong a beer for the poor Pegasus. They all burst out laughing. Draconix says, one cup and he's gone. Ratchet says, no. One sip and he's gone. They laugh even harder. Dunstorm says, my chest hurts. Draconix says, I'm going to have a fucking heart attack. Ratchet says, oh, David, what do you want? They start laughing again. Cheryl walks up and says, what's so funny? Draconix says, whoa. Dunstorm says, yeah, I got to tell y'all, she's pregnant with Scooter's baby. Cheryl says, 8 months pregnant. I can't wait. So, what's so funny? It says, nothing. Draconic says, you wouldn't find it funny. Cheryl says, okay. Have y'all seen my dad and mom? Dinosaur says, oh yeah, we've seen them. They start laughing again. Cheryl says, okay. Where are they? Dinosaur says, that way. Jill says, thanks. She runs off. Dinosaur says, no problem. They all continue to laugh. Dinosaur says, Dashi would have done much worse than that if I had said that. He's crazy. Draconic says, Fluttershy would kill me, but in his defense, he is drunk. Reddit says, I'm single, so ha! I don't get to deal with any of this. He laughs a little. Dinosaur says, it's all worth it to have them there and know they'll never leave you, and you'll never leave them. Draconic says, yeah, they're worth it. Reddit says, whatever. My wife was a psycho. So, Draconic says, well, that's your ex-wife. Dinosaur says, yeah, not all of them are psychos. Reddit says, I know, I'm looking. I just haven't found the right one yet. Draconic says, we know, man, you'll find her. Dinosaur says, for every star that is born, there is another just like it. It's match. Ratchet says, you're weird sometimes. Dinosaur says, I know. David walks up and says, hey guys. Draconic says, dude, what did she do to you? Put you in the shower with the cold water running? Dave says, yes. They all start laughing. Dave says, it's not funny. She smacked the heck out of me. My face really hurts. They laugh harder. Dave says, buck y'all. Cheryl says, Daddy! She hugs him, then let's go and says, ew, why are you wet? Dave says, Dinosaur says, he has a real great story for you. Ratchet says, you'll love it. Draconic says, it involves beer and a lot of smacking. They laugh harder. Cheryl says, okay. Dave says, buck y'all. End of Chapter 10. Chapter 11. Celebration Party. Dinosaur says, we'll leave you so you can tell your story. They walk away. Draconic says, have you drunk any beer? Dinosaur says, heck no. I got 2 fillies and 1 baby to look after. I got it for everyone else, and I wouldn't drink the punch. Draconic says, why? Dinosaur says, I think JT switched it with red liquor. Draconic says, awesome. Where is it? Dinosaur says, over there. Enjoy it. It's your party. I'm just a host. Draconic says, cool. He walks over, pours the cup, and walks back, levitating the cup. Dinosaur says, anyway, since it's your party, Draconic, I decided to let you decide. Do you want to race me, or do you want me and Ratchet to race? Like me up against one of his fast inventions. Like a speed suit or something. Ratchet says, oh, I have one. Draconic says, me or Ratchet? Ratchet. Dinosaur spreads his wings and says, awesome, I've been waiting for this. Ratchet says, so have I. They walk outside. Ratchet pulls out a tiny box and presses a button. A Ratchet-like suit covers him. Dinosaur says, didn't you wear that on Earth? Ratchet says, nope, that was battle armor. This is a speed suit. Dinosaur says, okay, let's race. Draconic says, on your mark, get set. Dinosaur's eyes glare red. Draconic says, go! Draconic says, dang. In the air. Dinosaur says, let's see how far you can push that thing. Ratchet says, it can go pretty far. Dinosaur says, really? Try this. Ratchet says, okay. He zooms. Dinosaur says, we're not exactly neck and neck. Ratchet says, I'm coming. The suit starts sparking. Ratchet says, uh-oh, it's not supposed to do that. Dunsmore smiles and says, machines can only go so far. A pony can improve its speed. Bye. Ratchet says, stop sparking, dang you! The suit falls to pieces. And Ratchet says, Buck. He starts barrel rolling. Dunsmore says, I gotcha. He picks up Ratchet. Ratchet says, ugh, my body hurts. Stupid suit. Dunsmore says, we better get you to a hospital. Ratchet says, nah, I'm fine. Just extreme pain. I'll be okay. Dunsmore says, if you say so. They land. Draconic says, what happened? Ratchet says, my fucking suit broke. It fell off. In pieces. Draconic says, too many G's. Well then, I guess you win, Thunderstorm. Thunderstorm says, thanks, but I'm just glad Ratchet is okay. Come on, buddy, I'll help you inside. Ratchet says, thanks. Thunderstorm says, no problem. They all walk inside. Thunderstorm says, I got to do something, so I'll lean you up against this column. Ratchet says, okay. Thunderstorm leads him up against the column, then walks up onto a stage and says, every pony, may I please have your attention? A pony looks at Thunderstorm. Thunderstorm says, in honor of my brother and Fluttershy's future wedding and their baby, I had this made. Fluttershy says, Draconic says, whoa. Thunderstorm says, a crown. A special crown. Draconic and Fluttershy, will you please step onto the stage? Fluttershy and Draconic walk onto the stage. Thunderstorm says, I think you should give her the crown. Draconic says, but we're not married yet. Thunderstorm says, oh really? Thunderstorm's horn glows. A wedding dress appears on Fluttershy and a tux on Draconic's. Fluttershy says, oh my. She blushes. Draconic says, what are you doing? A preacher walks up. Thunderstorm says, I figure you both have had such a great time at the party. Why not get married now? We both feel so happy when the bride is shining like a small, timid angel. Fluttershy blushes blood red. Draconic says, hey. Thunderstorm says, what? I'm happily married. The preacher says, are we going to get started? Thunderstorm says, yes. See y'all. Draconic says, wait. You don't want to be my best stallion? Thunderstorm says, of course I do. Thank you. Draconic smiles and says, no problem. Your brother is supposed to be your best stallion. Thunderstorm smiles. The preacher says, we are gathered here today to celebrate the strong bond of these two lovers. The you, Draconics, take the beautiful Fluttershy as your mare, to have and hold in sickness and in health, till death do you part. Draconic says, I do. The preacher says, do you, Fluttershy, take the handsome Draconics as your stallion, to have and hold in sickness and in health, till death do you part. Fluttershy says, I do. The preacher says, I now pronounce you mare and stallion. You may kiss the bride. They kiss. Draconic smiles and puts a crown on her head. Fluttershy's heart to glow. Magic swirls around her. It spins faster and faster till, boom, a big bright flash goes out. Everyone says, ah! Draconic says, Fluttershy? The flash fades away. Draconics and Thunderstorm say, whoa. Everyone else says, Fluttershy says, what's wrong? Draconic says, you have a horn. Fluttershy looks at her forehead and says, I do! Yay! But how? Thunderstorm says, I told you. A special crown. It has magic in it, but only when a pony that truly loves you puts it on your head will it work. And it worked. Congratulations, my sister-in-law. Tears appear in Fluttershy's eyes, and she says, I love you too. They start kissing. Rainbow says, I thought you had a gift for them both. Thunderstorm says, it is a gift for them both. I mean, Fluttershy, Alicorn, and it helped Draconic so just how much he loves her. Rainbow says, oh, she kisses Thunderstorm on the cheek and says, good job. Dinosaur smiles at her and says, "Thanks, my little Dashie." They kiss. Fluttershy says, "Ow!" Draconis says, "I felt that. It's kicking." Fluttershy says, "Yeah." She rubs her belly and smiles up at Draconis. Draconis smiles back and says, "Our baby." End of chapter 11. The Brony Adventures 5, Chapter 12, New Friends. Dinosaur walks up to Fluttershy and says, "Congratulations, sis." Fluttershy smiles and hugs him. She says, "Thank you for everything." Dinosaur smiles and says, "Anything for you, Flutter. I'm always here. I'll always look after you." Fluttershy smiles, eating water, and says, "Thank you." Dinosaur smiles, eating water, and says, "Happy to. Fluttershy, could you help me, Ratchet, David, JT, Scootaloo, Godell, Frost, Star, Jewel, and Sonia find a pet?" Fluttershy says, "Yes, of course. Let's go." Dinosaur says, "Whoa." "Come on, guys and girls, at Fluttershy's home." Fluttershy says, "What would you like, Thunder?" Dinosaur says, "Something like me. Brave, quick, smart, dangerous, loyal, agile, and most of all, noble." Fluttershy says, "I have plenty that fit all of those. How about a bear?" Dinosaur says, no. Fluttershy says, "How about a dog or a sparrow?" Dinosaur says, "No and no. It needs to be more dangerous and agile." Fluttershy says, "A vulture or a crow?" Dinosaur shakes his head. Fluttershy says, "I know. I have the perfect pet for you here somewhere. About a lion or a raven or an eagle." Dinosaur says, "Wait, a what?" Fluttershy says, "A eagle." Dinosaur looks up to the eagle and says, It's a black eagle." Fluttershy says, "I have others." Dinosaur says, "No, he's perfect." Dinosaur extends his wing, the eagle flies onto it, and he says, "Oh yeah." Fluttershy says, "What are you going to name him?" Dinosaur says, "Solus." Solus looks at Dinosaur, and Dinosaur says, You like it?" Solus nods his head. Dinosaur says, "Good, I'm glad." Solus flies onto his back. Dinosaur says, "Thank you, Fluttershy." Fluttershy says, "My pleasure." Ratchet says, "Okay, I just want a pet that is smart, cunning, and helpful." Fluttershy says, how about a raven?" Ratchet pets it and says, "He's perfect." Fluttershy says, "What will you name him?" Ratchet says, Bloodwing." Bloodwing flies onto Ratchet's back and caws. Fluttershy says, he likes the name." Ratchet says, "Cool. Thanks, Fluttershy." Fluttershy says, "Happy to." JT says, "I want something dark and mysterious." Fluttershy says, "Oh, how about a crow?" JT says, no." Fluttershy says, "How about a bat?" JT says, "Yes." The bat flies onto JT's shoulder. JT says, "Perfect." Fluttershy says, "What's his name?" JT says, Nix." Nix flaps his wings. Fluttershy giggles and says, "He likes it." JT says, "Good. Thanks, Flutter." Fluttershy says, "You're welcome." Dave says, I just want one that's magical, powerful, and dangerous." Fluttershy says, "Okay, how about a dragon?" Dave says, "I wait." David says, "Yes!" Fluttershy hands him a dragon egg. Dave says, "Awesome. Thank you, Fluttershy." Fluttershy says, "I wait till he hatches before you name him." Dave says, "Okay." Fluttershy walks over to Scootaloo and says, "What would you like?" Scootaloo says, "Same as my dad." Fluttershy says, "Okay, so you want an eagle?" Scootaloo says, "No, I just want the pet to have the same qualities." Fluttershy says, "Oh, okay. How about a dog?" Scootaloo says, no." Fluttershy says, How about a hawk?" Scootaloo says, "Yes, I love it. Awesome." The hawk flies onto Scootaloo's back and looks at her. Fluttershy says, "She likes you. What will you name her?" Scootaloo says, "Rainbow Dash." A pony laughs. Dinosaur says, "That's my girl." Rainbow Dash looks at Scootaloo and nods. Fluttershy says, "She approves the name." Scootaloo says, "Yay!" Fluttershy smiles and walks over to Godell and kneels down and says, "What would you like?" Godell says, uh. Phyllis lands on her shoulder. Tank looks up beside her and smiles at her. Dunstorm and Rendash walk up beside her and look down at her and smile. Godell smiles back, then looks at Fluttershy and says, "I want something as strong as my dad." Fluttershy says, "I don't know your dad, sweetie." Godell says, "Yes, you do. He's right here." Dunstorm smiles even wider and says, "That's my treasure, my daughter." Godell smiles even wider. Fluttershy smiles and says, "I think I have something." Godell says, "Wait, and I want it to be as beautiful as my mother." She looks up at Rainbow Dash. Rainbow Dash smiles and says, "And make it as awesome as my daughter." Godell smiles back. Fluttershy says, "You got it." "How about a lioness?" Dunstorm and Rainbow Dash say, "No!" Godell giggles. Dunstorm and Rainbow Dash hug her, wrapping their wings around her. Godell says, I love you, Mom and Dad." Dunstorm says, "I love you too, my little treasure." Rainbow Dash says, "I love you too, Godell." Fluttershy smiles even wider and tears flood down her cheek, and she says, "How about a tiger cub?" Dunstorm and Rainbow Dash look at each other. Godell says, "Aw, he's so cute." She pets the cub. Dunstorm says, I don't know." The tiger nuzzles Godell. Godell says, "Dad, please." Rainbow Dash says, "I don't know." Fluttershy says, "Don't worry, all of my animals are friendly and safe." Draconet says, "Fluttershy knows how to take care of animals." Fluttershy says, "Oh," she blushes and says, "Draconics." Draconet says, "What?" Fluttershy says, "You just slapped my flank." Draconet says, "I know, I just can't wait to go on the honeymoon." Fluttershy blushes blood red. Godell says, "Can I get him, Daddy and Mommy?" She gives the cute eyes. Dunstorm sighs and says, "Yes." Rainbow Dash says, "Sure." Godell says, "Woohoo!" Fluttershy says, "What are you going to name him?" Godell says, "Rising." Rainbow Dash says, "I wonder where she got that from." She looks at Thunderstorm. Thunderstorm says, "What?" "I have no idea." Rainbow Dash says, "I'm not the only one with a fan anymore." Thunderstorm says, "Don't be silly." Godell says, "Do you have one that's black and red?" Fluttershy shakes her head. Thunderstorm says, "Never mind. That's my treasure." Frost says, "I want a penguin." Fluttershy says, "Okay." She brings Frost a penguin. Frost says, "Cool." She has the penguin and says, "I love it. Her name is Snowflake." Fluttershy says, "It's perfect." Frost smiles and hugs Fluttershy and says, "Thanks, Auntie." Fluttershy says, "Auntie?" Thunderstorm says, "You're my sister-in-law, so you're her aunt." Fluttershy smiles and hugs Frost back and says, "You're welcome, Frost." Rainbow Dash says, "How are we going to get Star and Jewel pets? They're babies." Rarity runs up and says, I'm here. Am I too late?" Thunderstorm says, "Nope. Right on time." Rarity says, "Phew, I want Jewel to have a pet that's not too dangerous." Fluttershy says, "Of course. How about a puppy?" Rarity says, it's so cute. It's perfect. Thank you, Fluttershy." Fluttershy says, "Happy to." Thunderstorm says, "You sure?" Rainbow Dash says, "Yes." Thunderstorm says, "Alright. We want Star to have a Chimera cub." Fluttershy says, "Oh, okay." She flies over and picks it up and then flies to Thunderstorm and says, "Here you go." Thunderstorm says, "Thanks." Fluttershy says, "You sure? He's only a cub. These creatures are usually evil. It takes a lot to change them." Thunderstorm looks at Rainbow Dash. She nods. Thunderstorm says, "Don't worry. We'll change him." Fluttershy smiles and says, I know you two can. If you ever need any help." Rainbow Dash says, "We'll come to you. Trust me." Thunderstorm says, "Yeah." Fluttershy says, "Now what about Sonia?" Thunderstorm says, "Well, really she's Vinyl's and Octavia's daughter, but they don't know that I turned her back into a baby, so me and Ashley have been taking care of her. I know Vinyl would want her to have something cool, but Octavia would want her to have something safe, not dangerous." Fluttershy says, "So something cool but safe." Thunderstorm says, "Yes." Fluttershy says, how about a flamingo?" Rainbow Dash says, "No, it needs to be about 20% cooler." Fluttershy says, "Oh, okay. How about a lynx cub?" Thunderstorm and Rainbow Dash look at Fluttershy. Fluttershy says, What? Is that wrong too?" Rainbow Dash says, "No, it's perfect." not to continue this later. Thank you for coming and listening, and see you next time.